Hello everybody and welcome back. Last week we worked on some one-step inequalities, which we saw were pretty much just like one-step equations, but with one little thing. We got to switch our sign if we multiply or divide by a negative. So today we're moving on to two-step inequalities. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. So the variable is what we call the star of the show. And it'll often make our lives easier to graph and even solve if the variable is in front of the inequality sign. So if the variable is behind the inequality sign, we can rearrange the expression so that the variable is out front, but we have to switch the direction of the inequality sign. So a couple examples of that. So part A here. So if I wanted to move this variable term so it's on the other side of the inequality sign, well, all I have to do is rewrite that here, negative 2x. But notice here that negative 2x is greater than negative 30 if we read it from right to left, so we need to continue to make that greater than negative 30. So see how I flip-flopped my sign around to rewrite that here. Same thing with inequalities with two terms on the left. So if I wanted this to be out front, I could rewrite that expression there. So we have 7x plus 9, but I have to swap the direction of this sign here because it's greater than 16, so it still has to remain greater than or equal to 16. So pretty easy to swap things around to make life easier for us. So two-step inequalities here are going to, just like two-step equations, use two inverse operations to isolate our variable. So we want to move the expression with the variable to the left of the inequality sign, just like we did above with our first two examples. But we have to remember to switch that sign. Don't forget to switch the sign if you decide to change that up like that. So we're going to get rid of the number hanging around by addition or subtraction first by doing the inverse operation. We do not have to switch our symbol at this step. We don't have to switch for addition or subtraction. So let's move along here with this. So they have their variable term on the left of the inequality sign. So first thing they're doing is getting rid of this bit hanging around by addition here, and they're doing that by subtracting it. And they're left with a one-stepper now. So to get rid of the number hanging around by multiplication or division, by doing the inverse operation of what's happening to it. So since this w is being multiplied by negative 20 here, we need to divide by negative 20. And remember, if we multiply or divide by a negative number here, we need to switch the direction of that sign. Remember, we talked about that for one steps, for multiply and divide. Only if we multiply and divide by a negative, though. That's the only time we need to swap that around. So we're going to give these a try. So example C here, first thing I need to do is get rid of that 10 because it's hanging around by subtraction. So we're going to add 10 to both sides. And we have s divided by 2 is less than now 24 when I add 10. So now we've got this 2 hanging around by division. So to get rid of that, we have to multiply both sides by 2. And we get s is less than, well, 24 times 2 is 48. So that means anything that is smaller than 48 will work for this. If it's bigger than 48, then we'll get something like 15 is less than 14, which we know is not true. So it needs to be less than 48 to work for us. All right, so just like before, I want to bring these terms over to this side here. So what I need to do is rewrite my inequality. And we're going to swap our sign around to less than or equal to negative 17. All right, now that I have swapped it around, I can get going with solving. So we are going to add 3 and add 3. That means negative 2x is less than or equal to negative 14 when I add 3 to negative 17. Last step, we have to divide by this negative 2 here to undo that multiplication, and we get x. So I divided by a negative, so don't forget, we need to swap that sign around. Negative 14 divided by negative 2 gives me 7. So x must be bigger than or equal to 7 to make this inequality true. All right, so before we get going on E, we just want to remember that subtracting a negative here is the same as adding a positive. So we can make this easier on ourselves by turning that into a plus 3. So I'm going to take away 3 and take away 3. To undo that plus 3, we get negative 3x is less than negative 12. And once again, it's just a one-stepper. I got to divide by this number here. And x, since I divided by a negative to solve this, we have to flip our inequality sign around. And negative 12 divided by negative 3 is a positive 4. And final one here, remember if we're dividing entire quantities by a number like this, we can pretend there's parentheses. We do parentheses last. So in order to undo this division by negative 2 here, I need to multiply by negative 2 on both sides. Then we get x plus 3 is, well, I multiplied by a negative, so don't forget when we multiply by a negative to solve, we have to switch that sign around. Less than or equal to 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. And then we just need to undo this addition bit here. When I subtract for this, remember we don't need to swap the sign for addition or subtraction. So x will be less than or equal to negative 20 minus 3 is going to be negative 23. So just like equations when we're solving them, except when we multiply or divide by a negative, you got to remember to switch your sign there. And then also the other difference is that equations have one solution, where inequalities have many, many, many solutions. Anything for number f here, anything that is smaller than or equal to negative 23 is going to work. So negative 23 would work, negative 24, negative 25, negative 25.75, etc. Everything that is smaller than negative 3 is a solution for this. All right, so we have some independent practice here. Don't forget that our independent practice starts on this note page, so don't forget that when you're writing out your assignment. And then the rest of it is continued on the PDF for our assignment. It's listed under assignment in Canvas. And then after that, there will be an IXL to get done as well. So be sure to take care of that. And we're going to have some inequality review stuff for tomorrow. So be looking on the lookout for that. Thanks very much, and I'll talk to you soon.